When I first moved into my apartment on Brookside Avenue, everything felt like a fresh start. Apartment 3B wasn't much, a tiny kitchen, a cramped bedroom, but it was all mine. After months of chaos, it felt like freedom. Across the hall in 3A lived Mr. Harris, an older man, probably in his 60s, always polite. He'd wave, offer a nod, sometimes small talk about the weather. Harmless, I thought. At first, a few weeks after moving in, I started noticing things. Whenever I came home, no matter what time, I'd catch a glimpse of his door cracking open, just a sliver, a shadow behind it, watching. One night around 2 a.m., I was sitting in my dark living room, scrolling my phone, when I happened to glance out the window. Across the alley, in the building opposite mine, a light flickered on. Mr. Harris's window. Through the slightly parted curtains, I could see him, standing still, staring directly at me. Not out into the night, at me. I closed my blinds, brushed it off as loneliness or boredom, but it kept happening. Night after night, always the same hour, always the same figure. One night, unable to ignore it anymore, I spoke up. As I unlocked my door, I heard his door creak open. Without turning, I said, "Hey, Mr. Harris, everything all right?" Silence. When I finally looked over my shoulder, his door was cracked open, darkness beyond it, no answer, no sound, just the suffocating feeling that I wasn't alone in the hallway. I quickly went inside and locked the door. The scratching started soon after. At first, soft, almost like mice in the walls, but it was coming from the door itself. I listened, frozen, as the doorknob rattled gently, like someone was testing if it was unlocked. Breathing followed, heavy, labored, right on the other side of the wood. When I dared to look through the peephole, there he was, Mr. Harris, standing motionless, so close that I could see the rise and fall of his chest. He wasn't knocking, wasn't speaking, just breathing, watching. I backed away, heart racing, grabbed my phone, and called the landlord. Mrs. Evers, the landlord, answered groggily. I explained everything, the staring, the scratching, the middle of the night visits. When I mentioned Mr. Harris, there was a long silence on the line. Mr. Harris, she repeated, her voice low. Yes, 3A, I said. Another pause. Sir, Mr. Harris passed away 6 months ago, she said. Heart attack. In that apartment. 3A has been empty since. I stood there, phone pressed to my ear, disbelief flooding me. No, I insisted. I've seen him. He talks to me. Mrs. Evers sighed. You're not the first to say that, she murmured. Maybe you should think about finding another place. That night was the worst. At exactly 3 a.m., I heard it again. Not at the door this time. At the window. 3rd floor. No balcony. No fire escape. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. I hid under the covers like a scared child. When dawn finally broke, I checked the window. There were no footprints in the fresh snow on the ledge, but deep, jagged scratches lined the wooden frame, as if long fingernails had clawed desperately to get inside. I left the apartment 2 days later. Left behind my couch, my bed, my dishes. I didn't care. I just needed to get out. Even now, months later in my new place across town, I keep the blinds shut tight at night. I sleep with a bat beside the bed. I double lock every door. But sometimes, on nights when the world goes still, I swear I see him again. A pale figure, standing beyond the window, watching, waiting. When I moved into the old duplex last fall, the landlord warned me that the attic door sometimes creaked open due to drafts. I didn't think much of it. The place was cheap, and I needed somewhere close to work. My only neighbor was an elderly woman named Mrs. Langley, who lived in the unit next to mine. She seemed sweet enough, always smiling, always offering baked goods she claimed were family recipes. The kind of neighbor you're lucky to have, or so I thought. It started about 2 weeks after I moved in. At night, after I turned off the lights, I would hear it. Soft, deliberate footsteps above my ceiling. Slow, heavy, as if someone was carefully pacing back and forth. Always in the same spot, directly of my bedroom. The first time it happened, I told myself it was just the old house settling. But the steps grew louder, more distinct, and they always started at exactly 2:17 a.m. One night, curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed a flashlight and pulled down the attic ladder. The wood groaned under my weight as I climbed up. The attic was empty, nothing but dust and a few broken pieces of old furniture. No animals, no signs of intrusion, just one thing out of place. An old rocking chair, placed squarely in the center of the attic, facing my bedroom ceiling. It was gently swaying, though there was no breeze. I told Mrs. Langley about it the next day. Her smile faltered. "You're hearing them too?" She asked quietly. "Them?" I echoed. She nodded, eyes clouding over. "There were tenants before you. Young couple. Nice people. They said they heard footsteps too before they disappeared." I thought she was just trying to scare me. Maybe she was senile. Maybe she enjoyed weaving ghost stories. Until that night. At exactly 2:17 a.m., I heard the footsteps again. But this time, they didn't stay in the attic. They moved down the ladder, slow, creaking steps, descending one by one. I locked my bedroom door and huddled under the covers, listening as something heavy brushed past my door. I could hear it breathing, low, raspy, not human. When the sun finally rose, I found the attic ladder fully extended into the hallway, and muddy footprints leading from the bottom rung to my bedroom door. I packed up and left that day without even telling Mrs. Langley goodbye. I don't know what's haunting that place, but sometimes at 2:17 a.m. in the quiet of my new apartment, I think I still hear faint creaking above my ceiling, like someone or something still searching for me. The house across the street had been abandoned for years, or at least, that's what everyone said. When I moved into the neighborhood, the locals warned me, "Don't pay attention to that place. It's better if you just ignore it." I thought they were just being superstitious. But then, strange things started happening. Late at night, I'd noticed the lights flicker on in the empty house, a soft yellow glow leaking through the cracked blinds. Sometimes, I'd see a shadow moving past the windows, a tall, thin figure. But by the time I tried to focus, it would vanish. I asked my next-door neighbor, Mr. Jensen, about it. He shook his head. "There's no electricity connected to that house anymore," he said grimly. "Hasn't been for over 10 years. One night after a heavy snowfall, I woke up around 3 a.m. Something had jolted me from sleep. A sound, a knock at my front door. When I looked through the peephole, there was no one there. But when I turned my head, I caught a glimpse of something outside. Across the street, standing in the snow, was a figure, dressed in what looked like an old, tattered nightgown. Their face was hidden in shadow, but their head was tilted, almost inquisitively. I blinked. They were gone. Only a trail of footprints remained, leading from the abandoned house to my front porch, and then stopping. After that night, I kept my curtains shut tight. I never looked at that house again, not if I could help it. Some nights, though, I can still feel it, a presence watching me from across the street, waiting, and sometimes, just sometimes, I swear I hear a faint knock at my door, even when no one's there.